The thing that matters most to me is how I feel about myself. We don't hear a lot about, we talk about what other people think about us. Before there was my wife and kids and the company and the customers and the investors, there was me. And I need to feel good about me when I go to sleep. That's why I do what I do, whatever I do. Like yesterday, my daughter and I had lunch together at the office. Somebody picked up the plates, brought them over to the dishwasher, put them in the dishwasher, didn't clean them out before they went in the dishwasher. I saw it later. I went in there and cleaned them out and then put them in the dishwasher. It's just the right thing to do. And then the lady was like, "Oh, I'll do it." I'm like, "Oh, you already had a chance to do it. You didn't. So how about I'll just do it?" And I don't mind doing it. There's no job below me. But I didn't do it. I did it because it's the right thing to do. Right? If I go into a public bathroom and there's tissues on the floor and somebody else dropped them there, I'm going to pick them up.
Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. Today, I want to share with you a pretty cool insight from a recent opportunity I had to spend over an hour speaking with Grant Cardone on the Franklin Planner podcast. I interviewed him for the podcast, and I want to share this thought with you. Now, whether you agree with everything Grant says or not is not really the point. The value of conversations like this is not about a personality or a celebrity. It's about extracting principles. And high performers, what I've found over time, they reveal patterns in how they think, how they act, how they approach life. And if you listen real carefully, you can pull out ideas that can fundamentally change the way you operate. And during this conversation with Grant, one idea stood out above all the rest. It wasn't about his sales tactics and business strategies or even real estate. It was something a lot more foundational. It's this idea that personal responsibility and self-leadership will drive your life. And most people want better results. They want more income, freedom, influence, impact. But very few people are willing to take full ownership of the outcomes of their life. Leadership, of others always begins with leadership of yourself first. And self-leadership begins with responsibility. Responsibility is not about blame. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about control. And, because the moment you own something, you gain the power to change it. And the moment you blame something outside of yourself, you give your power away. So entrepreneurs especially need to understand this because the market fluctuates, clients come and go, economy shifts, competition increases, and all of your external conditions will always exist. But your ability to respond, adapt, and create results depends entirely on whether you see yourself as the cause or the victim. And personal responsibility is one of those core prosperity pillars because it's a foundation to clarity, confidence, discipline, and long-term success. And without it, everything else is unstable. But with it, you can navigate almost anything. So I want you to listen carefully to this little segment that I'm going to play from my conversation with Grant. And, pay attention to how he frames responsibility, not as a motivation, not as obligation, but as a way of maintaining control over your life. And notice how he connects these small daily actions to self-respect, confidence, leadership. Listen to his words. And also notice how the conversation expands beyond responsibility into vision and purpose. Because once you truly own your life, you stop settling. You stop drifting. You start creating intentionally what you want to create in your life. So take a listen.
The thing that matters most to me is how I feel about myself. We don't hear a lot about, we talk about what other people think about us. Before there was my wife and kids and the company and the customers and the investors, there was me. And I need to feel good about me when I go to sleep. That's why I do what I do, whatever I do. Like yesterday, my daughter and I had lunch together at the office. Somebody picked up the plates, brought them over to the dishwasher, put them in the dishwasher, didn't clean them out before they went in the dishwasher. I saw it later. I went in there and cleaned them out and then put them in the dishwasher. It's just the right thing to do, dude. And then the lady was like, "Oh, I'll do it." I'm like, "No, you already had a chance to do it and you didn't. So how about I'll just do it?" And I don't mind doing it. There's no job below me, but I didn't do it. I did it because it's the right thing to do, right? If I go into a public bathroom and there's tissues on the floor and somebody else dropped them there, I'm going to pick them up. I'm not doing that because it's I have some moral obligation. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. And I'm not going to feel good about myself if I pass it up. I think the opportunity to do any kind of work and to complete any task, it's a gift from God. And so whether I get paid or don't get paid doesn't really matter to me. It's if there's work to do it, complete the task, do a good job, go home at night, feel good about yourself. Then you have the shot to be a good dad, a good husband, a good community leader. Maybe you get to be a good,
Yeah.
you're not even guaranteed that if you do that.
Yeah. Without it, you don't. I love it because it really is how you do anything is how you do everything. And you wrote 10X rule, and that probably goes straight to if you want to lead your life. You always talk about taking full responsibility, personal responsibility, not just how you do things, but in your life in general. What do you mean by that overall?
It's you don't blame other people for anything, even if they're to blame. Because the moment I blame somebody else, even when they're to blame, the moment I blame somebody else for my problem, I lost control and I'm a victim. I don't want to be the victim. So I want to cause the action. I want to be the cause and source of the action so that I can fix that, because I can't fix you. I can fix me.
Yeah.
So if you come up and punch me in the nose, I'm gonna be like, I did that. I don't want you to say that you did that to me. I want to say, no, I did that to me. I did something. I got the way of your fist. Because the moment I blame you, dude, I lose my ability to determine outcomes. And the moment I blame you for anything, the government, the economy, Trump, Biden, mom, dad, drug dealer, inflation, I've lost control. And what happens for me, and again, I'm just speaking for myself here, but the moment I blame something, I become blind. I no longer see. If I blame inflation or if I blame the government, I am now blind. I become blinded to any opportunities that might lie on the other side of this. And you can't see opportunities when I'm saying, hey, Jerome's the reason this happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the mindset, right? I think that one of the things that our audience really believes is that they're going to be leading their life, they're going to be growing. But I think sometimes people get to a certain level, maybe they've got some personal responsibility, but they still come back to no matter where you're at, you have to think bigger. And that's why I like the 10X concept. So you always talk about vision, big vision, grow your vision. Even with people that have established some wealth or have some success in their life, how do you define for you right now your long-term vision? Because you've gone through a lot of different phases in your life and in your business and career, and you're at a whole nother level. How do you continue to grow your vision? And what would you say to individuals that are at a point where they feel successful, but they need to expand their vision?
I have an affliction. I will admit that I have some abnormal issues. One is I'm never satisfied. Like I suffer from this. It's a divine discontent. God embedded me with this. I can do more. I got this idea I can do more, that there's been a couple of times in my life where I became satisfied with whatever level of success I'd experienced. And both times I ended up becoming very unhappy. And so I highly recommend, I think most of America, if you study America, you got a lot of poor people, too many poor people, maybe 15 to 18% of the population's in poverty. You have 10% that are in extreme amounts of wealth, phenomenal amounts of wealth. And then you have this massive, giant group of people called the middle class. Might have been a compliment in 1950. It's not now.
Yeah.
It's this massive group of people that appear to be satisfied, but that never seem to get ahead. And this is where, to me, I don't want to be. I don't want to be in that sagging belly of I'm good, only to find out I'm not. I'm fine. And then you're 78 years old. You don't have a purpose. You're going to live another 20 years. You don't have enough money. You don't have purpose. Your body doesn't work. It's terrible, dude. It sounds exhausting to me, okay? Like, you get up in the morning, you're 54 years old, you retired, and you're like, you have a little money in a bank account. By the way, that's getting depleted every day because you're printing money faster. You don't even spend the money. It's going to be depleted because of inflation. You think you have $1 million, but you don't. You're going to live another 40 years. And every single day you're worried about what you spend. Every time you go to the grocery store, you turn on the lights, you flush the toilet. You're like, I wonder how much I'm spending today. You're constantly worried. That's not life.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. There's a lot to unpack in that message, but let me highlight a few key takeaways that I believe are pretty important for anyone trying to grow, lead, or create a meaningful life. First, responsibility creates control. You cannot change what you refuse to own. And when something goes wrong, most people immediately look outward. They blame circumstances, other people, timing, luck, the system, whatever it is. But the moment you do that, you give up your ability to influence the outcomes. And ownership, on the other hand, it gives you options. It puts you back in the driver's seat. You know, leaders focus on what they can control, not what they can't. The second thing I notice is blame creates blindness. When you focus on who or what's at fault, you stop looking for solutions. Your answer is pointed, backward instead of forward. Your opportunities often exist inside the adversity. So if you miss that, you're going to miss the opportunity. But you can't see, things if you're consumed with resentment or frustration. And responsibility is going to keep you proactive. It keeps you open. It keeps you moving. And then that last thought that I wanted to kind of share after that clip was self-leadership is built on small actions. Confidence does not come from motivation alone. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. It comes from doing the right thing when no one's watching. That's the hard part. Finishing your tasks, handling all the details, maintaining your integrity, everyday situations. Those small wins, they're going to compound into self-trust and confidence because self-trust is the foundation for real leadership. And so with that said, I hope you enjoyed the clip. I hope that you'll start to see that there are a lot of things you can learn if you begin to read between the lines and follow individuals that are thought leaders that are doing what you want to in your life and that have learned the hard way. So how do you apply all this stuff that we're talking about? Well, here's a simple framework I call the responsibility reset. Number one, audit your language. Pay attention to how you describe situations. Are you using phrases that shift the blame or, and replace blame statements with ownership statements instead of, why is this happening to me? What can I do different? The second thing besides your language is focus on what you control. You may not control the economy or your competitors or anything around you, but you do control your actions, your preparation, your attitude, your effort, and your responses. So remember, high performers pour energy into those areas. And then third, win daily integrity battles. Finish what you start. Do what you said you would do. Handle small tasks right off the bat. Don't procrastinate. Show up when you don't feel like it. These are actions that might seem small, but they build momentum and they build confidence over time. They're going to create for you a powerful identity, someone who follows through, someone who does what they say they're going to do. And so even if the circumstances were created by someone else and you're dealing with things, there's always something within your influence. So find that peace and restore your own personal power. Here's the truth. Responsibility is not a burden. It is freedom. It frees you from waiting and hoping conditions change. It frees you from the dependence of other people, and it frees you from the helplessness that comes from believing your life is controlled by something outside yourself. Leaders are not chosen. They decide to lead themselves first, and then they become leaders. And your life starts to transform the minute you stop outsourcing the ownership of your results to other people. So start today. Identify a key area that you can take control of, your health, your business, relationships, finance habits, whatever it is. Take full ownership in that area starting today, not tomorrow, because self-leadership is the foundation of success, influence, and fulfillment. I hope that's a message that you'll be able to take. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of snippet. In fact, I'll put the link to the full episode over on our Franklin Planner podcast in the show notes. But please do me a favor and learn to take responsibility for your life. And I believe with all my heart, I believe it's never too late to start living the life and creating the life that you are meant to live. But you've got to start taking control on a day-to-day basis. So that's my message. Hey, do me a favor and share this episode, would you? It'd mean the world to me. I hope that it's something that'll help others as well. And if you share it with other people, And by the way, tag me when you share it. I'd love to see what you're doing. I'd love to see who's sharing. And then hit me up on the Daily Mastermind. Let me know what you're working on. What are you struggling with? What are you winning at? What can I do to support you? And with that said, I will look forward to talking with you more tomorrow. Have an amazing day. Once again, this has been the Daily Mastermind.